What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I just got back from seeing a new horror movie that released over the weekend called Ready or Not, Here I Come, which is a sequel to 2019's Ready or Not. Now, the movie picks right up where the last one left off, with Grace, played by Samara Weaving, sitting outside of the mansion after escaping a deadly game of hide and seek. And once she goes to the hospital, she is quickly apprehended by another group of members of the same cult from the first movie, and she's then put into another game of hide and seek, but it includes her sister, played by Catherine. Her last name is blowing my mind right now, but she was in Freaky, Lisa Frankenstein, another Scream queen. So that's the basic premise of the movie, and I can say that I enjoyed my time watching this film, and I loved it. It was a really big, fun, entertaining time, and it pretty much is the same movie as the first one, but just larger in scale in every which way that you can imagine. The cast is bigger, the kills are ramped up, and it's a lot more gory than the first, and it also expands upon the lore that was set up in the first movie. Now, with that being said, I do think it is a solid movie and it's a good watch, but it does not do enough to rationalize its existence, if that makes sense. Like, it's a good movie, and I think, honestly, as a double feature, if we were to watch them both in one night, it would be a great double feature. But it doesn't take a lot of big steps to make me as a viewer be like, yeah, this movie definitely needed to be made, because the first one was so good that it could have just been a standalone movie. And usually I'm the guy that's all for sequels and I want 3 more and the whole franchise out of it. But I was like, I don't see where you could take this ending of the first movie and expand it, unless you go balls out to the wall in ways that I don't want to get into, because I feel like that'll spoil the movie. But they just didn't go there like I imagined it could have gone, knowing the premise of what's happening. You do need to watch the first movie as to learn what's going on, because there's a new set of rules established in this movie that kind of go along with what was happening in that movie, but it's a different set of rules with different characters, but it all equates to a game of hide and seek. So I just want to establish those two things here, because I'm going to do a lot of positives about the movie that I did like, but again, that standpoint stays true in this. It really doesn't reinvent the wheel or add a whole different structure or whatnot to the original. And even the way it ended, I really don't see how you would even crank out a third movie. And I really wouldn't want them to, unless they do plan to take it way out there, because there are hints of that in this film that I did like. And if I had to do the comparison in regards to an original and a sequel, it's kind of like Halloween 78 and Halloween 2, where Halloween 78 is such a great film. If no other franchises came after that, if no other movies came after that, you would be good with just this film. And then you get Halloween 2, that was kind of made out of the faculty known as the movie industry to continue the success, and you get a movie that I still think is enjoyable and has a lot of fun, and in a lot of ways ups the ante on a lot of different things, but overall is really not a sequel that should have been made at the time, because it doesn't do much of anything different than the first one besides go a little bigger. Ready or Not and Ready or Not, Here I Come are that when it comes to original and sequel. But like I said, I loved it, and I hope we get a Steelbook 4, because I would definitely like to bring this home for the fact that it plays out so well as a double feature. And one of the fun things about the movie is the setting. It takes place in a much larger place. I believe it's like some type of resort, so you get to be in the same location in a sense, but you're just in a lot of different places because of how many sub-settings you have under this umbrella of the resort. He has some sequences that take place on a golf field. You have some that take place inside of the kitchen. There's a scene in a ballroom that's pretty cool. There's also a few scenes in hospitals. So the fact that there are this many settings, it does add a different level of entertainment, because you get to see these characters and the game itself bounce off of different places. And I think Samara and Catherine do a really good job of being sisters. You see them bounce off of each other to really give the feel of being estranged, and you understand why they are estranged, and you get the reasoning of that and how their kinship unfolds as the movie continues. But it's not over-explanatory either, to the point where it's just a scene where you're sitting down and everything is explained. It's all believably introduced through conversation, because these two mesh really well. You can buy that they're sisters. And I love that there's kind of this different type of character type between the two, because you have her sister who is new to everything, so she's reacting as the audience was in the first movie, just seeing all of this unfold. We're like, holy shit, people blow up, and she's just like, what the fuck is happening? Whereas Samara's character Grace has been through this once, so she is a bit more savvy as to what's going on, and she has her own moments of badassery because she's gone through this before. And on the flip side, I feel like this movie has more of a definitive villain opposed to the first one. I think the first movie was just presenting all of the characters as like the big bads because they're all embracing in this hunt, where here the main antagonists are Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I forgot the guy's name, but I know him from The Faculty. He was one of the star football players. Literally forgot his name. I think it's Josh or something like that. But those two really lead the pack when it comes to antagonists, and they're also brother and sister. So you see their kinship also go on a really crazy journey as well. And I thought it was cleverly written to have two sets of siblings be the protagonist and antagonist here to see how those relationships change. And specifically Josh's character, that's his name, he is a fucking menace in this movie. Good Lord. There's a sequence with him and Catherine's character that is just utterly brutal and so over the top that like, you're just stuck here like, what the fuck is he? Like, he is out of his mind. And you even see kind of those glimpses of being afraid from Sarah Michelle Gellar being his sister, where it's like, whoa, shit, we really don't want this guy to win. And there are some other colorful characters in here, as they have did with the last movie. There's a lot of good comedy that also plays a part to keep it highly campy. And because the rules are different, it plays with the idea of kills and how the family even goes about this game. That does keep things interesting and fun as well. And I gotta mention Elijah Wood in this movie. He kind of plays the lawyer for the family, kind of just going through the process of what they're supposed to do and how the games are. And you do get a lot of exposition from him as to what's going on with the new rules. But it never came off annoying because, again, they played it smart by having two characters in here, you know, Samara and Catherine, who have no idea what's going on, and he has to explain to them how things work, so we as the audience are getting insight right along with them. And overall, I had a fun time watching it, having, you know, a subtle issue with it not doing more than just being a bigger sequel. Because I think when you do a sequel for a film, if you're gonna do one, I think you should blow the hinges off the door, since the first movie set the rules in stone of how the film works. This is the opportunity to really go crazy with it and offer some things that the first movie didn't get to offer because of whether it had been the budget or the scale was small because it was a new project. Here we are with an established world now. Let's go bananas with it. Like, I'm gonna say it right here. This is a slight spoiler, so I'm gonna tell you now. Skip over this because this is what I kind of wish they would have went into the territory of. So it's no mystery that this is a satanic cult, and I was hoping that they would go the route of like Cabin in the Woods, the way that ended, where not necessarily like, you know, you see a bunch of animals and beasts, but it would have been cool to see a massive implosion on itself, the way that hand comes out and just smashes the ground, or like just the fact that when they got into this lower world in that movie and they seen that this was like a monstrous world. I really would have enjoyed them going the supernatural route in that way if we were going to do a sequel. I think that's the way you up the ante and kind of take a movie a different direction for a sequel to justify its existence. And because it didn't do that, I was like, this was a solid movie and I really enjoyed it, but damn, man, the structural nature is pretty similar to what the first movie was. But I had fun and I would watch it again. So if you have seen Ready or Not, Here I Come, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. Do you agree with me that it is solid, but it just kind of does the same thing as the first one? Or do you think that it does a lot of things different? And if so, let me know in the comments what you thought it did massively different than the first one. Because obviously there are differences. It's not like it's a repeat copy, but overall it still has the same type of feel and structure as the first one. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.